United States, the new HTC smartphone is called the Bolt and is actually only produced for Sprint, the local network operator. The HTC Bolt will also be available in Europe but, confusingly, under a different name, HTC 10 Evo. In our first hands-on review, we look into what is so revolutionary about the HTC Bolt. When unpacking the device for our hands-on review, which, unfortunately, we only a day to do, you get an immediate feeling that this HTC smartphone handles like a high-quality smartphone. The design corresponds to many features of the HTC 10. The HTC Bolt is bigger and heavier, and the back does not have the ergonomic rounded curves of the HTC 10. However, the back of the HTC Bolt is flat. The camera peeks a few millimeters out from the otherwise flat housing. The outstanding design feature of the HTC 10, of course, is the very wide, beveled edge. The Bolt also has this distinct feature. If you hold the HTC Bolt in your hand for the first time, this edge seems sharp upon first impressions, but just like the smaller sister model from the HTC 10 series, this edge ensures a secure hold. With the larger dimensions of the HTC Bolt, a secure hold for the smartphone in your hand is not bad because ultimately, you need to be able to grip and use the smartphone with one hand. For a smartphone with the dimensions of the HTC Bolt, that display is the dominant feature on the front as well as the main attraction for people. That display of the HTC Bolt occupies nearly 70% of the front of the smartphone and relies on the Super LCD 3 technology from the HTC One M9. For the HTC Bolt, however, the screen diagonal has been increased to 5.5 inches and the resolution increased to WQHD, 2560 by 1440 pixels. While HTC has taken a step backwards with the display panel compared to the 10 series, there was a generation jump in terms of screen protection from Gorilla Glass 3 to 5. Whereas the HTC 10 without Bolt in the name still has Gorilla Glass 3, the Bolt now has Gorilla Glass 5. The newer version is designed to sustain falls of up to 1.60 meters, while the Gorilla Glass 3 in the HTC 10 was designed more for protection against scratches. The LCD 3 panel of the HTC Bolt looks quite good and stable in the viewing angle. In our detailed review over the coming days, we will find out how good the HTC Bolt display is in everyday use. But we will refrain from conducting a drop test. HTC delivers the Bolt with Android 7.0 Nougat and the manufacturer's own Sense overlay. As with the HTC 10, at first glance the Sense overlay is hardly noticeable to the layman, and the amount of bloatware in our HTC Bolt was reduced to a minimum. However, Android Nougat experts will notice that HTC has already integrated night mode into HTC Sense, which was removed from Android 7.0 and has just returned to version 7.1 with the Google Pixel phones. For all further innovations in Android 7.0, we recommend the following article, noting all the innovations for Android Nougat, as additional reading. In terms of performance, we were not expecting anything massive in terms of evolution with the HTC Bolt because instead of having this year's top processor, the HTC Bolt is stuck with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 from last year. The processor has 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal memory, which can be extended by up to 2 TB by a microSD card. Even if the technical equipment in the HTC Bolt can't keep up with its almost 6-month-old namesake in terms of the CPU, GPU and RAM, that doesn't mean it is lame. Sure, it won't reach the performance of the HTC 10 but it will reach that of a Nexus 6P, since it is almost identical to it in this regard. The reputation has already been confirmed in an initial preliminary benchmark but a final statement and assessment of the performance will be available in a few days. The analog 3.5mm audio port, and in comes the digital connection via USB Type-C and Bluetooth. Thanks to a digital interface via the USB Type-C, the HTC Bolt can now also process information from the headset and use it for the adaptive audio feature. This feature was already available in the HTC 10 with an analog connection, except that the audio profiles were set by a question-and-answer procedure. Thanks to the digital connection, HTC can now add a microphone in the provided headset, which can then be optimized for your auditory canal based on a series of noises. Unfortunately, we have yet to see how well this works because the headphones were missing from our review device and the smartphone was only in our editorial department for one day. The two cameras on the HTC Bolt are not identical to those in the HTC 10. The main camera has an image sensor with 16 megapixels, but HTC has remained silent on the size of the sensor and the pixels. The same goes for information on the 8MP front camera. What we learned from our hands-on with the HTC Bolt is that the main camera has an optical image stabilizer and the lens has an f/2.0 aperture. The camera focuses with the help of phase detection, while an additional laser autofocus is missing from the HTC Bolt. We will intensively test the two cameras in our final review of the HTC Bolt. So far, we are assuming that photos and videos will be appealing, but we can only address this adequately in our final review if the quality matches up with competitive smartphones in the same price segment. The energy storage capacity of the HTC Bolt is nearly 3,200 mAh and it can be charged quickly through Quick Charge 2.0. HTC offers a maximum talk time of up to 23 hours. According to the manufacturer, the standby time should be up to 20 days in 3G/4G networks. In our detailed review, we still have to assess how well the hardware, software and battery work together. If you just look at the pure technical data, the HTC Bolt and its battery is comparable to the Nexus 6P, 3,450 mAh, the Google Pixel XL, 3,450 mAh, or even a Huawei Mate 8, 4,000 mAh. Perhaps this picture will change with everyday use.